A lot of men think bar girls leave nightlife for one reason: a man. They imagine a savior coming to rescue the girl with good intentions and a monthly transfer. That story is comforting, but it's mostly wrong. If money and good intentions alone were enough, Pattaya would have emptied years ago. Bars would be perpetually understaffed. Freelancing would be rare. And this entire ecosystem wouldn't still be running at full capacity. Women don't leave nightlife because someone convinces them to. They exit when pressure outweighs payoff. This isn't about love. It's about incentives, fatigue, identity, and timing. Nightlife isn't just a job for a bargirl. It's an adaptive survival system wrapped in identity and status. And that's the key distinction most men miss. Before we talk about exit triggers, let's understand why nightlife work is so sticky. For a bargirl, nightlife offers high short-term income, flexible hours, emotional leverage over many men, immediate validation, constant options, and minimal long-term accountability. That's why often when you ask a girl how long she's been working, she only quotes you the time where she worked at that specific bar. For them, everything exists in phases. This system rewards emotional skill, not planning. It rewards adaptability, not stability, leaving that trade certainty for uncertainty. There is not guarantee of the man's reliability or another way to make money. She gives up control of her time for dependence on another person or a low-paying job. And most crucially, she gives up dopamine for discipline. This not an upgrade for most people, bargirl or not. It's a risk. So when a bargirl talks about wanting to leave, what she's really saying is that something inside the system is breaking down. All right, now let's break down the real forces that push a bargirl out of the scene. No fantasies, not rescue stories, actual exit conditions. The first reason bargirls leave nightlife is physical and emotional burnout. From the outside, nightlife looks glamorous, but inside, it's repetitive, stressful, and exhausting. Every day requires managing male egos, performing warmth to strangers, hiding irritation or discomfort. She always has to be on despite the late nights, alcohol, and sleep deprivation. There is no recovery period. Energy drops, patience shortens, tolerance for nonsense disappears. Eventually, she doesn't feel simply tired anymore. She feels empty. This usually starts as a crack at first, then widens. That hollow feeling pushes more women out of nightlife than morality ever does. Once the emotional labor stops paying psychologically, the job becomes unbearable. The second reason bargirls leave nightlife is probably the one most would have guessed: age and diminishing returns. This isn't moral, it's math. As a woman ages in nightlife, competition increases fiercely. Attention requires more effort. Suddenly, she is forced to do a host of services she didn't need to do when younger. The men she encounters are likely to have a more transactional posture. As more and more new girls arrive, her income becomes volatile even while the emotional labor expenditure rises. The job doesn't end suddenly. It slowly pays less for greater and greater performances. Where she once made money easily, now she has to work harder, tolerate worse behavior, and manage more men to earn the same amount. That's when the math changes. Existential fatigue makes her feel like she's running on a treadmill that's speeding up. If the returns don't justify the cost, then nightlife becomes intolerable. And once that happens, she starts scanning for exits. A different kind of fatigue might also make a bargirl quit the scene. After all, they are humans too. Some bargirls leave due to identity fatigue. At some point, the role she's being asked to play becomes claustrophobic. Being desire stops feeling empowering and starts feeling transactional. Then she realizes the persona she wears to survive no longer comes off as easily. She loses respect for customers. She loses respect for herself. And this creates a quiet internal conflict. Some women break under the strain and become hardcore sex workers. Others want to reset. They want to disappear, rebrand themselves, and start fresh somewhere else. In that isolation, they heal. Whether it is merely a pause from the scene or a full departure is unknown. Another reason bargirls leave the nightlife is a viable alternative appears. These women don't leave nightlife into nothing. A replacement system usually comes in the form of a stable business, a legitimate job with growth, education that leads somewhere, and yes, a long-term partner who replaces the structure. Here is where most men overestimate themselves. A man is not an exit plan unless he replaces the entire system. Income stability, emotional support, predictability, status, and sense of security. Love cannot do that alone. That's why 9 times out of 10, a man's attempt to save a bargirl is doomed. Often men fail to manifest the life that can outcompete with the allure of nightlife. Without that replacement, most exits fail. Another fifth reason bargirls leave the scene is because nightlife stops being the solution. Sometimes the very thing that gives a bargirl freedom starts to become a burden. Options dwindle into noise. There are too many men, too many lies to track, too many stories to maintain, too many expectations to juggle. So instead of empowerment, optionality becomes cognitive overload. So she starts to crave simplicity. Notice that does not mean she will stop freelancing. It just means she wants fewer variables. After enough cycles, the emotional scripts start to repeat. The same tired compliments, the same promises that are always broken, the same arguments with different faces. Men blur together, stories recycle, and nothing feels novel anymore. Once that novelty dies, motivation follows. At that point, even good money starts to feel empty. Some bargirls also feel a loss of control from nightlife. She starts to feel replaceable and disposable in a way that makes her ego fragile. She starts to feel like she doesn't have a choice any longer. Then she might choose to leave nightlife to reassert her own autonomy. And sometimes, very rarely, some families become financially stable. With that stability, expectations shift from money pressure to social pressure. Families don't want the reputation of having a working girl in their family if it isn't necessary. And for the girls, too, once their family stops needing money, the psychological leash loosens. Here, another one of the most overlooked forces. Men often take bargirls as individuals, but they are always in a group. Women typically form allies in this life. A bargirl without allies will always fall prey to those that do. These women work together, sometimes live together, and normalize the same behaviors. For a long time, this group reinforces the lifestyle. Multiple men, short-term thinking, money now, consequences later, but then something shifts. One friend gets a serious boyfriend, another moves in with someone, another leaves the bar entirely. Suddenly, nightlife is no longer the default. It becomes the outlier. Staying behind begins to feel exposed. Nightlife starts to feel like standing still while everyone else moves forward. So this triggers rapid change within this group. Suddenly she becomes serious, reevaluates the men in her life looking to settle down. She tests exclusivity. Men see this and think, she changed because of me. In reality, she changed because her group changed. Here is where men misread the situation. When a bargirl leaves the nightlife scene, they think they're seeing commitment. They're not. Often what they are really seeing is fatigue. And wanting out isn't the same as being able to leave. That's when men try and become that bridge she walks across. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. Often, she returns to nightlife once the system reasserts itself. Here's the reality check you probably knew was coming. Most bargirls don't leave permanently. Many cycle in and out. Some switch to hidden freelancing. Some downgrade instead of exit. Some leave bars but keep customers privately. Leaving nightlife is often more of a logistical decision than an emotional one. And even if she left because of you, she'll soon return to reality because the structure hasn't truly changed. The final takeaway here is that nightlife exits are almost never romantic. Don't fool yourself into believing that. If you look hard enough and have enough data, you will begin to see the fault lines laid out in this video. If you've seen this cycle play out, comment below. If there were any other reasons that I might have missed, let our viewers know. And if you want to continue this journey to understand the fantasy of Thai nightlife, subscribe. Until then, stay sharp.
Ai đã lấy you rồi.
No, he liked me, but he liked the girls I'm with.
Vậy hả?
Yeah, yeah. Ex-girlfriend, beautiful. You beautiful, you know. So, yeah, bad. Long.
So hot.
Sexy.
Lady boy. Sorry, lady boy.
Boy, so sexy.
Same you. Ui mà.
Same.
Bông. Đấy.
Yeah, your spirit go back to wrath. You die, your spirit go back to wrath.
Yeah, I die you Pattaya.
You work so hard forever.
No, I die.
Yeah, you work. Oh, fuck. So good.